Good morning. Today is 11 September 2025, and normally I do not do videos with my voice, my face. Normally I do not do videos with my face, as it's well known, to keep that kind of in the background. We are coming up to No Kings event on the 18th. And then we'll probably need another one sometime in November. The moment right now, we are seeing extreme violence coming about. From an ontological perspective, that part of if you look at the structured layers of the collective consciousness, if you would say the meme entity lives just above the full collective consciousness, it's becoming violent, and it's being spurred on by this president's rhetoric and persons within that group who believe in eugenics as a determiner of in-group or out-group, and the behaviors they externalize or internalize onto themselves or externalize onto others. Usually the externalization, of course, is in a negative. We are fast approaching a terminal point where we'll make a decision as a culture, as a country, and as a humanity. Where will we go? Will we go through violence and to our destruction? Which there are those within the Christian nationalist and even the Zionist, and actually almost all religions have this end times prophecy. And the end times prophecies are not always about just the destruction of humanity and physical, but it's a new mind, new opening, a new awareness of who we can be as society and as humans. But right now we have those who are pulling down and those who are pushing up. And the pulling down are destroying those who are pushing up, and the pushing ups are, trying to break through into the light. I must admit it has been a long, difficult road to get to this point. I have gone through subtle and extreme violence perpetrated by the state. As stated before, I burned Indian intelligence, East Indian intelligence, Mossad, and DevCrew. And also have had the CIA do their things. The East Indian intelligence, whereas the constant along with the SEALs constantly breaking into my room, and what I've been able to derive, the SEALs usually use poison on my feet to knock me out. The East Indian, I have all these scars on the left of my body, and plus he told me, go figure, he didn't realize it, of course, but what he was doing. So they would knock me out, and then on my back in specific places, use either a neurotoxin or something that tracks the back, and then use the subliminal messaging in my ears to try it. So my body, mind, subconscious would associate the pain to their, I don't know if exactly a one-to-one, probably not, but to their subliminal messaging. I know for a fact McRaven has taken my theories, especially because he hacked Facebook or is working with Facebook, and got onto one of my Facebook friends as I was just talking about a glass of wine because of my earlier days when I was younger. I used to work in wine restaurants, so I can literally look at it. You know, when you work as a sommelier, you're working your way as sommelier. You learn to be able to even look at a glass of wine and go, okay, that's this varietal from this area, and it's a process where you look at a glass of wine and year, varietal, where it's from, even and if you're really good, which, you know, when I was on it every day, you can say, okay, that's even from the north side of this particular, you know, like north side of Napa in this area, just by sight. It's quite interesting. And I was talking to that, and he breaks into that conversation, blocks her out, and he was trying to talk about, he wanted to know, well, the Kolmogorov, where I was talking about the mathematics in my original essay. He thought it was just the theory of the philosophy. He didn't have the idea I would understand the math. Go figure. And I didn't even fully understand it at the time, but it's part of how I structured things. And so they've been just stealing and pulling that and pushing it into Palantir. The young folks have no idea just how powerful these machine learning and LLM systems really are, and the dangers they are. So right now we're not at a tipping point, but we're rolling into a nodal point where the choices we will make will determine well into the next 100, 200 years. And it's now between the eugenics, Zionism, Christian nationalism, or even the Muslims think, or even the Hindus, like this religious end times crap from all the religions, or are we as humanity, as beings, going to say, even it's not going to be this violent thing, ontological thing of change, but it's a change of our consciousness and our raising of ourselves, and seeing each other as humans and not just animals. And it's going to be interesting. And the main thing that has to happen, you know, as these protests start to build, the goal state is to reinstate the Constitution. That means, of course, impeaching, and if found guilty, removing those congresspersons and senators for not upholding the Constitution on January, for the January 6th insurrection, which is held within the Constitution. That was their main fear of the founders, was a violent insurrection to overthrow and topple the government, which the president did. And then Joe Biden didn't have the guts, or mostly didn't, I don't know, whatever. I'm not going to go there. But without the Constitution legally as precedent placed in order, we have a dictator, a true authoritarian by law in the White House. And we need to reset this whole situation in full. So that's removing, if they're guilty, senators and congresspersons, and then passing the Voting Rights Act. So voting rights is a universal thing, and none of this hodgepodge stuff. It's a right, no longer just this privilege of voting. So far, history is doing what history does, and it's repeating, or at least rhyming. We need to create a new poem and change the repeating pattern to where democracy is upheld. I wish you well, and have a great day, and may the force be with you if you're a Star Wars fan.